Welcome to math. So we're going to start today. Let's see, you need your number grid and your math journal, maybe your marker and your sock, your eraser. So we're going to warm our brain with our number grid, and we're going to start at a number, but we're going to count up to a number, and we're going to count how many hops. So it's a little bit different than what we normally do. Usually, put my number grid out here. Usually, I will say a number, and then I will tell you how many hops, and then you tell me the number we landed on. Okay, so if I said 14, make 3 hops, 1, 2, 3, and you would tell me you landed on 17. Today, I'm going to tell you a number. I'm going to tell you what number I want you to land on. So I would say start at 14, land on 17, how many hops? And then you would count the hops, 1, 2, 3, stopping at number 17. So it's a little bit different than what we're used to doing. So again, your number grid is in your blue binder. If you could get that out, you might want your marker and eraser. It's easier to see where you've been and where you're going. Okay, so start at 11. So we're going to start at 11, and we're going to count up to number 20. So this is where I want you to stop. So you're going to count how many hops does it take me to get to 20. So I'll give you a few seconds to do it, and then I'm going to show you too. Okay, here we go. So I'm at 11, I'm stopping at 20. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It took me 9 hops to get to 20. I hope it took you 9 hops as well. Remember, you cannot count the number you're on. That's why we count the hops. So from 11 to 12 is 1, right? All right, let's try it again. Erase your boards. This time, we're going to start at 14, and I want you to stop at 24. Oh, are some of you thinking you already know this without even counting? Do you remember the trick? Do you remember the rule? How many hops is it going to take to get to 14 to 24? I have an idea in my head, but I'm going to double check because the whole object of the lesson is to count your hops. So I'll give you a few minutes. All right, I'm going to guess 10 because I know that the number below is 10 hops, but let me double check. And the tricky part is when I get to here, going all the way back to here and still counting. So here we go. Let's see if I can do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All the way back to here. 7, 8, 9, 10. Did I do it? Yes! And that is 10. Again, you have to make sure from here to here you're counting, right? And if you went underneath, that's fine too. Whatever works best for you. All right, erase your board. So that one was 10. Nice work. Practice makes these easier. So if you want to practice, have your parents tell you some numbers and you count to them. All right, so this time we're going to start at 35. And I want you to count how many hops to 55. Oh dear, I have to go down 2 sets of rows. Oh, let's see if I can do. Oh, I'll give you a few minutes to do it yourself. How many hops from 35 to 55? All right, well, I'm going to tell you my secret again. So I know they're in the same column. So I know from here to here is 10. So from here to here must be, what's 10 plus 10? 20, right? So I'm going to guess it's 20 hops, 10, 20. But let's double check first. All right, so here we go. This is tricky because when I get to here, I have to go all the way over to here. And then when I get to here, I have to go all the way over to here again. So here we go. Let's hope I can do it. 1, and we're counting our hops. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Was I right? Yes, absolutely. It took me 20 hops to get to here, right? But I knew the shortcut. I already knew it because I went from here to here is 10 and here to here is 20. But I also can double check by doing my hops. All right, clear your board. Nice job. That was a little trickier. We're not used to doing those, but you did amazing. And if you need to practice, like again, have your parents tell you two numbers. So if they told you 53 to 60, and then you would underline those numbers and count how many hops to get there. All right, perfect. All right. Today is a pretty simple lesson, but it's a very important lesson. So I'm gonna tell you a story, and I want you to think what your answer would be. So Henry has 10 in his backpack, and Mike has 1 in his backpack. So I'm going to ask you, whose backpack is heavier? Do you think Henry, who has 10 in his backpack, is heavier? Or do you think Mike in his he has 1 in his backpack. Do you think that his backpack is heavier? So Henry, who has 10, Mike, who has 1. What do you think? I bet you're all saying that Henry, who has 10 in his backpack, is heavier. I bet you that's what you're all saying. Well, let me tell you a little bit more. What if I told you that Henry has 10 paper clips and Mike has a pumpkin? So Henry now has 10 paper clips and Mike has 1 pumpkin. Now whose backpack do you think is heavier? And I bet you all now are saying that Mike's backpack is heavier because he has a huge pumpkin or a pumpkin, even a pumpkin compared to paper clips, right? Is definitely going to be heavier. So I want to ask you, what made you change your mind? What made my story different? So what made you change your mind and what made my story different? If you're saying that the first story I did not say paper clips or pumpkins, and in my second story I told you that there were paper clips and pumpkins, you're right. So the first story I left out the units. I didn't tell you what we were comparing. So that's why I'm trying to tell you that this lesson is easy, but so important. This is exactly why it's important to identify the units. So when we're doing, it doesn't even have to be a number story. It could be, we had the one story of fireflies. So we had 1 firefly, and then he caught 4 more fireflies, right? So 4 plus 1 is 5. So 5 fireflies. Oops. So this is what I'm talking about, your units, labeling your units. Tell me what we're talking about. Tell me what this 5 represents. This 5 represents fireflies. In my story, when I didn't tell you that there were paper clips and pumpkins, you automatically thought 10 is going to be super heavy. But then when I told you there was only 10 paper clips, you're like, oh, that's so silly. Nope, the pumpkin is definitely heavier. So we will practice units. So they, in your math book, I guess it doesn't it looks a little bit, in the next few units, they label them for you. But as it goes on, you will have a little box here that does this. It says units on it. And they want you to put your units in there. However, if you look at our math book, they've already labeled the units for you and there's no fancy little box. So this is not necessary, but if you do see this box, that's what it's asking you. It wants you to tell them what you counted. What did you add up? What are your units? Or what did you subtract? All right, so we're going to move on to page 11. So that's the end of this unit is you finishing page 11. So again, I'll read it to you. You can pause the video if you need to. I'm going to just read you the questions and you can answer them as we go. Draw one way you and your partner could share 5 pencils. So if you have 5 pencils, how can you and your partner share them? So I want you to draw me only one way that you could share them. So you might want to pause the video because I'm going to go on to number 2. Number 2, how many dots are there? Can you tell without counting? Can you tell how many dots are here without counting them? So it's kind of like our quick looks. See if you can see a pattern. See if you can see combinations or doubles. How many dots? And then put the number there. If you have to count them, that's fine. But see if you can do it without counting them. Try to see how many are there without counting them, and then count them to see if you're correct. Number 3, use your number grid. Start at 10, count up 7. So this is back to what we used to do. This isn't what we practiced today. So start at 10. You're going to count up 7. You're going to make 7 hops. What number did you land on? And you're going to write it right there. Number 4. Mel has 2 gold stars and 1 silver star. How many stars does Mel have? So you're going to add the 2 and the 1, and you're going to write the number there. Mary has 1 gold star and 2 silver stars. How many stars does Mary have? So again, you're going to add the 1 and the 2 and put the number there. And if you think really closely, there's a rule. They have the same numbers, but they're backwards. What do we call that? If you're saying the turnaround rule or the commutative property of addition, you are amazing. Good work, my friends. I'm going to let you go. Have a wonderful day. Don't forget to post this to Seesaw and activities. Bye-bye.